What's up, everybody? Matt Johnson here. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. I think that's something like that. We are back. We had a whole week off, I think, last week. Greg was in Japan. I was traveling. I was in beautiful and scenic Louisville, Kentucky, which is, it's about the same thing as Japan. So we're practically in the same place.
Very much.
So we took a whole week basically off of the show last week, and apparently I forgot the show's tagline in the meantime. But we're back. We've got Tracy Enos back with us today. She returns. I believe this is round 3 with Tracy. So we're going to talk about some of the interesting new things that are going on and what Tracy is doing with clients on LinkedIn that we can all learn from. We're also going to talk about knowing and using LinkedIn to connect with exactly the right people and who that is. So if you think about it in terms of who are the 50 most valuable relationships you can have in your business right now? You can use LinkedIn to build those rather than thinking about it in terms of, okay, who are the 5,000 people I want to reach with a Facebook ad or that I want to reach on LinkedIn with a post. So thinking about it differently and thinking about who we really actually want to connect with and using LinkedIn to zero in on them and really build real relationships. So we'll start there in a second. But first of all, Greg McDaniel, the Junior Grand Master, back from the Orient, as we say. What's up today?
I am. Dude, talk about a blessed and incredible trip. Japan was better than I could have ever have imagined. I mean, the Japanese people are so freaking awesome. They're so kind, so humble, so amazing. But I'm sure glad to be back on U.S. soil where I can read and understand everything. Well, to a given degree, I am dyslexic, so there is that degree of still screwing things up.
I knew that was coming.
But I'm really enjoying being back. I love the trip. I was talking with you and Tracy off air. I think my girl and I think we may have built a superbug because we are both feel like shit today. But we're back at it. We're still working. There's no rest for the weary, right? And I'm just blessed to be back here. And Tracy's going to make it rain. I know that you and Tracy use LinkedIn extensively to grow your businesses. So I am, for the first time, Johnson Face, I have my notepad out, and I shall take notes on what you say. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to take notes of what Tracy says. But Tracy, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's great to have you back for the Trace time. And hope people will listen to what you have to say because LinkedIn is a powerful tool, but none of us use it correctly. So take out your handy-dandy prehistoric writing tool called a pen, ladies and gentlemen, and please take notes. Class will commence now. Okay, I'm ready. Go ahead.
All right. Well, Tracy, let's start.
Did I just see the black cat go right behind you?
Yeah.
So Halloween.
It is. It's Bandito. He is the black cat, but he's like this. He's the nicest little snuggle bug on earth. He knows that I'm not feeling well, so he's just been hanging out with me all day, just kind of sitting on my lap and purring. So well, there he goes again. The black cat.
No superstition here.
No, none at all. Matt loves cats. I mean, he has a whole litter of kittens at his house, and he keeps hidden from the general public. I don't know why. They're so lovable, Matt.
Yeah, that sounds like me, doesn't it? All right. So for anyone who missed Tracy's first couple of episodes, Tracy, just kind of give us a reminder who you are, where you are, what you do.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Tracy Enos, and I live here in the Midwest, KC to be exact. I love my little town. And I've been doing this LinkedIn thing for like 6 years now. And there's no stopping. As long as LinkedIn is still out there and plugging away and doing great things for myself and my clients, I'm going to keep at it.
Love it. So let's talk about the who a little bit. And I think where a lot of agents struggle is they think of the market in terms of there's the wider world out there, and it's our job to go out into the wide world of people that we don't know and figure out who wants to buy or sell a home, and then get them to trust us as quickly as humanly possible. So I want to talk a little bit about kind of flipping that on its head, and I know we cut out on your end, so I'll repeat the question again. So so most agents think of things in terms of going out into the wide world of people who don't know who they are, and figuring out who wants to buy and sell, right? And then figuring out how to get them to trust them, even though they don't know them, and do a transaction and trust the biggest deal of their lives to them, potentially. Most of the time it's one of the biggest, when they didn't know that person from Adam a day ago or a week ago, right? And in this day and age, that's just not it's not that it doesn't work, it's that it's unnecessarily hard, and there's just a different and I think better way to do it, which is to find people that will trust you, build relationships first, and then get introduced and referred and put yourself in position to meet people that are looking to buy and sell through the people that already know, like, and trust you. So I want to talk a little bit about that first of all. So when you work with a new client, how do you help them identify who the who is? Who are they trying to reach, and who are the most valuable people they can meet with on LinkedIn?
Well, everybody has a particular kind of niche market that they like to work with. So first of all, we need to really decide or define who that is first, not just the demographics, but we also go in and dive a little deeper into the psychographics, because this is going to come into play with any of the marketing that you're going to do, regardless of what platform you're using. I mean, it could be as simple as an email or a video or an article or anything like that. But until you do those two things, then it's going to be really difficult to, try and find the right people, especially, LinkedIn is great for referrals. So you want to find the right people who can bring those exact potential clients to you, and you know that they're going to work with them. But until you sit down, and I call it getting back to the basics. I wrote an article not too long ago about every shiny object that's in LinkedIn, and everybody jumps on it, let's go this, and we're going to growth hack, and we're going to make all this money. But if you really haven't gotten down to your basics and really defined the who and your goals of what you want to do with it, then any growth hack is going to fail on you. So once you have the basics down and continue to run that campaign, your basic campaign, anything that's what you're going to do is going to be a plus. So when I say basics, we start with foundation. Foundation is first, and this will apply to regardless of, anything that you're doing, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, email, YouTube, whatever it is that you're doing. And you've got different prospects on different platforms, but, define the who and really sit down and dive deep into their psychographics. And then what is your goal with the platform? What is it that you want to do with it? Who do you want to reach out to? And then that's where you start building that trust. You build out that profile that now says, you're pre-qualifying the who, but you're also using the psychographics. And when I mean psychographics, as an example, is what's their biggest desire? What kind of fears? What keeps them up at night? And this is all, based off of your prospect, right. And then you can really dive deep into it, but typically those are kind of the first questions that I tend to ask my clients is the who. And then, LinkedIn is really great because it's a search engine for the demographic side of things, if you're using the filters, especially in Sales Navigator, but your profile and all your content and even your outreach with your messages all has to do with the psychographics.
Okay. Yeah, so you're sorting people in two ways. You're sorting people by, first of all, specifically targeting who you want to work with, and then you're also sorting them by the stuff that you talk about and talking about things that are only going to be interesting to the people that you want to work with.
Correct. Yeah. And if you really know a lot about your prospect or even your referral partner for that matter, okay, or the people that they work with that you like, want their referrals, if you know this stuff already, then you're already going to know typical responses and typical type of engagement because you've already dove deep into that. So you've evoked emotion, and that's when people start to raise their hand and say, hey, I want to talk to you. Does that make sense?
Wait, okay, so yeah, back that up a second because I think we glossed over a really important point. So when you evoke emotion, that's what makes people want to raise their hand. So what do you mean by that, and how do we evoke emotion on LinkedIn?
You could ask the right questions because you already know their pain points, right? So you already know that question. And people like it when they talk about themselves, right? You're showing interest. So let's just say we're doing a messaging campaign. And we might want to approach it a couple ways. First way is to ask them a question. You already know that pain point because you've already done your homework and the foundation work ahead of time, right? So you know what that is. So you can kind of already guess what the response might be. So you're already building this trust with them because then they already think that you actually know them already. Does that make sense? Did I answer that question? Okay. Secondly,
because the question you're asking them is linked to their pain. So
correct.
You know what they're struggling with. So when you ask them a question that touches on that, you kind of know what the response is because you already know what they're struggling with, which
correct.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Or what their biggest desires might be, or even, finding something that's of interest to them that's outside of maybe your own content like somebody who they follow, on an online publication or a certain influencer or whatever, and kind of building that relationship that way. Like I said, there's a lot of different ways to approach it depending on the who. But that's just for the outreach part and the messaging. That's what's going to build trust, because when they start, you send that connection request and it's personalized, they're curious. So they want to go back to your profile and they're going to go check you out before they accept the connection or even message you back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that profile is an extension of all this homework. So now you're building trust in that matter, okay, and expertise. But again, this is not all about you, because people at the end of the day want to know what's in it for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're building out a client-centric profile that not only speaks to their pains and their desires and the solutions, but at the same time edifies you and, excuse me, and separates you from your competition. Why are you better than the guy down the street that I should be referring to and sending my business to? How are you different? And at the end of the day, they want to know what's in it for them. Okay, how can you solve their problem?
Yeah, and we're going to have a guy come on the show here. I think we're about 3 weeks out, but he comes from the mortgage side, so he does work with both loan officers and real estate agents, and has worked with a lot of each. And he's done a lot of research on the science of why people refer. And he's going to make the case and lay out all the background info on why this is true. But intuitively, I think he's right, which is that people refer, and they're more likely to refer when they get a bump in social status from referring you.
You make them a hero.
Yeah, you make them a hero. And so to your point about having a really killer LinkedIn profile, if you ask somebody, or if you want and you wish more people referred you, especially making introductions to other people on LinkedIn, you got to have your LinkedIn profile together, because otherwise when that person thinks about referring you and they look at your LinkedIn profile and they go, yeah, he doesn't look like he's got his act together. Like I'm uncomfortable referring because his LinkedIn profile doesn't make me look like a rock star for knowing them.
Right.
Interesting
and
thing,
then
right?
You're leaving opportunity on the table. I mean, look at how much opportunity could be missed because that profile is not built out in a way, that really, makes you look good, but it also showcases the fact that, you understand them, you understand their pain, their desires, and that you understand that you can help them. And then to the referring side, they want to look like the hero. You're right. It's that social status, I'm sending the right people, my clients, to the right people, and they're making me look good.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and hopefully everybody got a hold of that. And like I said, we'll have Chad, the gentleman that I mentioned, on in a few weeks. So keep an eye out for that episode, because we'll talk about why that is. But becoming a person of influence and a person who is well connected and visible in your local area is huge for referrals. Even though you think they're not connected, they're intimately connected. The fact that Greg is on the radio makes it a lot easier for people to send him referrals, because they can go, oh yeah, my real estate agent's on, he's on the
KGO.
radio every Sunday morning. KGO, what is it? KGO?
Yeah, KGO 810, yeah.
Yeah, so stuff like that, like you don't think those things are necessarily connected, but they absolutely are. But Greg, I want to talk to you for a second about the who, because if you're going to write out a profile that makes it clear that you understand what people's frustrations are, how do you do that if you have no idea, or you refuse to narrow down what type of homeowner or home buyer that you want to work with? Like how do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
No.
Most people don't want to restrict anybody, and so they end up not being able to make any specific statements about the struggles that they help people overcome, because they want to help everybody with everybody's struggles all the time, everywhere, in every possible, within 8 hours driving distance of whatever their city is. They want to be able to help them with any real estate needs. So what ends up happening is even if you try to build a LinkedIn profile off of that, it wouldn't really be specific enough to speak to anyone in particular. It'd be super vague. So again, it goes back to like really understanding who your ideal client is.
Yeah, we see a lot of new agents. What they do is they go out there and they will literally go helter-skelter and work with any buyer, any seller, anywhere within literally sometimes not, we joke about 8 hours, but I mean within an hour or two minimum. So I've seen agents drive 2 hours out of their way to go to a listing or to show a house. I'm like, why are you doing that? You have no idea what you're truly what you're truly working for. I mean, you're just working like a hoe. I mean, you're being hoed out, pimped out all over the state when you need to rein your shit in and just really work. Like, where do you know, without a shadow of a doubt, you know what's going on in that neighborhood? No, my father, the T Diddy, the Grand Master, me Papa, when we would get a referral there's a city called Pleasanton. It's about 30, 40 minutes down the street. We wouldn't take it. We'd refer it out. We would work a city called Livermore. That's about 25 minutes away. But if we went to San Leandro or Milpitas or San Francisco or Mill Valley or San Jose or, Santa Cruz, any of these cities, now they're within driving distance, but they're not my ideal client because I don't know how to get to these cities without GPS. Therefore, I cannot help them buy or sell real estate to the best of my ability. So when you're working with your LinkedIn profile, you don't say, hey, I'm going to work with everybody under the sun because I have a real estate license and it says I can work with anybody in this huge geographical area. No, you narrow it down and say, what's the best use of my time? Is it working in these specific areas where I know what people had for dinner in certain areas because I work it so well? Or do I pimp myself out and just work everywhere and just become a slave to people's whims? And I think that, what we're talking about here is when you're on LinkedIn and you want to talk about somebody else, you've got to figure out, like we were talking about, figure out their wants, needs, pains, and desires, and then service those. Don't just run willy-nilly everywhere. Write it down, be specific on it, and then put it out there into the public, aka on LinkedIn. This is who I serve. This is where I serve. End of story. If I do not work this area, I can refer someone I know that does work that other neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we handle it. If anyone goes to my LinkedIn, go check out my LinkedIn page. I had a professional go and write my LinkedIn page because it looked like a third grader with crayons when I wrote it. And it looks so much better, and it was clear and concise, and concise, on what I do, where I do it, and how I do it. So I think it's important. It really is important to have a good LinkedIn page, even if you're not using it to the best of your abilities yet. Start with having someone to write a good LinkedIn page so that they at least think you're professional. If you haven't really, done anything yet.
Yeah, agreed.
Matt is grinning from ear to ear, by the way.
I'm laughing about the 5-year-old with a crayon writing your LinkedIn profile because I think they would get similar results. All right, so Tracy, let's talk about some of the changes. It's been a while since we had you on the show. What are some of the interesting things that you're seeing going on with just the tools within LinkedIn and some of the changes that LinkedIn itself is making just over the last time, since we've had you on the show? What is catching your eye?
LinkedIn, a couple things. LinkedIn is really trying to get people more engaged into the news feed. And so they've now added hashtags. So now you could use hashtags before, but now you can actually go follow hashtags. And that also will help you get found because people will use the hashtag in the search to find other posts and articles that have these hashtags in them.
Okay.
So be real careful with that. I mean, you want to start picking hashtags where you want to get found, and then you might want to create your own hashtag and do that everywhere that you do it, because then once you become that local celebrity, it's going to catch on, and people are going to want to see your stuff. So I would use like that hashtag, all across all your social media. Get it, a coined hashtag. So for me, it's Ask Tracy. You might want to do your website name or something kind of, catchy or whatnot. Also, they're trying to
promoting. Are you telling people repeatedly over and over again?
Yeah, I would promote it. I would promote it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. With anything that you do, there comes promotion. Nobody's just going to find you. If they don't know you, you've got to
Well, that's why I asked, because most of the time people I see people a lot of times using personal hashtags, like multiple personal hashtags, which nobody uses or cares about in any way, shape, or form. And they're not telling them, hey, here's the function of the hashtag. If you would like to see my stuff in your newsfeed more often, go follow this hashtag. They just use it and then expect that, as if by magic, that will then get people to find them.
And they will come.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. No, you've got to promote it, just like anything else. You write an article, you can even share your posts. I don't know if people knew this, but you can take the link to your LinkedIn post and you can share it everywhere else. So it's really kind of cool. I mean, if people don't know you're there and you're active, because again, we talked about this back in February, the news feed has gotten really tight, kind of like what Facebook did a few years ago with business pages.
Okay.
And until you get engagement on your post, then LinkedIn doesn't open up the algorithm for anybody to see your content, which kind of sucks. So, they really want you to start, promoting. And so, so just because I put it up in LinkedIn doesn't mean it's necessarily going to get seen. So I might take that and go put it on my Facebook page, or I might link it in my, a newsletter, an email newsletter, and I get people in the eyeballs over to that post, right? Kind of a cool way to do things. Same thing with the hashtags. If you created your own hashtag that brands you, then let people know, got to know, and then I would just say brand it across all social media that uses hashtags, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatnot.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. All right, so that was the first thing. So hashtags, and refresh people's memory when you say if you don't get interaction right away on the post, LinkedIn won't open up the algorithm. Just quickly explain kind of what you mean by that.
Okay, so LinkedIn has a scoring system. So, and it goes kind of like this. Shares get the most, and we'll just say 3 points, all right? Comments are 2 points, and likes are 1 point. So you are kind of trying to get the shares and the comments over just the likes. And then LinkedIn, after, a few hours, will start to see that engagement. Then they'll open up to more of your network at that point. And then there's a good possibility, if it kind of goes viral and LinkedIn thinks it's not spammy content and good content, they will actually manually override their algorithm. So an actual employee will do this, will override the algorithm and really open it up, which is very difficult to do. Did you?
There we go.
You guys?
You're back.
We lost you for a second.
Okay,
You're
back.
back.
So gaming the system still works. Of getting a bunch of your colleagues or your network together and going and commenting and liking on each other's posts to give you that initial push. So
you said that still works.
That still works. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So I was going to ask you about that. So having kind of an informal group of people, it doesn't have to be like there are some internet marketers and growth hackers that really take this to a whole other level, and they have a separate group going on another encrypted social media platform where they'll get 20 or 50 people together and, hey, let's all like each other's stuff, and everybody posts when they just posted something and yada yada. You can still do that on a smaller scale and just have people that you just kind of keep an eye out for their stuff and share and like and post and comment each other's stuff.
Exactly. And I think as time goes on, I've been watching some of these people like a year ago with like 0 engagement to now getting hundreds of likes a year later because they're being consistent. And then eventually people are starting to see their stuff. And then the way the news feed works is that the people's stuff that you are actually engaging with on a consistent basis, they will show those posts first before you see the new posts, giving you an opportunity to engage again with their content.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. Awesome. Yeah. Okay.
And then LinkedIn is actually now trying to revive groups, and I think it's very futile that they're doing this.
because Facebook basically took that away from them, and now that's where all the action is. Day late and a dollar short.
And it's the reason why I'm going to bring something up to you here in a minute. That's why I'm bringing this up. But yeah, I mean, so they're now you're able to access your group discussions and stuff that you engage with in your actual home news feed. And so, yay, just one more thing to convolute my news feed, right? Yeah. So,
Well, I was going to say there was a while where Facebook did that, where, Greg, I'm sure you noticed this too, where it seemed like 7 out of 10 posts on your news feed was something from a Facebook group. And you're like, holy good God, what is going on over there at Facebook? And then they kind of dialed that back.
Yeah, it was pretty annoying, but I'm glad to see LinkedIn is trying to do it. So why do you think it's so fruitless that LinkedIn is trying to re-engage with groups? Help me understand that a little bit.
I think a couple years ago, maybe it's been 3 now in October, they really took away a lot of the functionality in groups. And so, like, for example, you could like go and message anybody in that group. Doesn't matter if they're a first, second, or third connection for free. Now you only get 15 per month. And LinkedIn doesn't even show you if they're a first, second, or third connection. So you could be wasting already a free message on a first connection unless you actually take the extra time to make sure that they're not your first connection. Let's say, you have a large network and you don't know everybody in your network. Yeah, so you only get 15 messages a month. Now LinkedIn can come in and take some of the functionality of the moderators and can flag posts on their own, not just the moderators. And the moderators now, I believe, because I'm a group owner, but I don't have an active group because I set it up years ago and haven't done anything with it, but I got an email, and I think they're even taking some of that functionality away of messaging your group once a week for free.
Why would they do that?
Yeah, I believe so. If
Why?
I'm not mistaken.
Why would they hamstring
Because
people
they're
so
bringing the
badly?
content to the newsfeed instead.
So,
and there's just no functionality. I mean, Facebook groups win hands down over LinkedIn. So I'm not a huge Facebook for Business fan, but LinkedIn's kind of pushing me in that direction just on the group sense of things, or group side of things.
So we're comparing LinkedIn and Facebook. When is LinkedIn going to get on the bandwagon and start doing live videos? Do you see that happening at all? Because I would be much more apt to use it if there was a video option.
Well, they gave native video now to business pages, but how many people are really interacting and engaging with business pages? They're interacting with the people,
right?
Not the business, right?
Yeah.
So they're trying to revive that too, and it's kind of futile as well, unless you're a big box brand or something like that, and people follow that stuff. But for the smaller guys, I mean, especially for the realtors and the mortgage lenders and whatnot, they're kind of, on their own, or they have small teams. They're going to want to stick with the home news feed anyway. But you still want the company page up there so it looks like you're in business and it looks good on your profile. But so I don't know. They were in talks about it coming this year, but we're getting towards the end of the year. I don't see it happening right now. I'm considered by LinkedIn a power user, so I get, news about some of this stuff before most folks do, and that's not one of them I've heard from about. I really want live video. I think that would be fantastic, and more people would stay on the platform. But I think, because native video now, they've added some new functionality, like you can upload like your transcript to it, but you have to go to like a transcription service and upload them with an SRT file, and I know that's really techy. I had to go look it up. So,
they're not making it easy.
No, so what you do is you have your video, so your raw video, and then you have to take that video and get it transcribed with a transcription service. I like to use rev.com, and then they'll give you an SRT file, and then you upload the video, and then you upload the SRT file into LinkedIn. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, you lost me at like upload.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, and then people who have time or have teams, and they're doing 2 to 3 videos a week, and, they've put this down on their task list to do and accomplish. But for most folks, that's a lot of extra time. It really is.
Well, it's a lot of convoluted effort that doesn't need to be. It's not dollar productive activity for 99.9% of the people out there. So why are they going to take the time to, one, find a transcription service, which we all know Rev is an amazing service. But if you didn't know about it before this this podcast, then now you do. First, find a transcription service, transcribe it, pay for that transcription, then upload this video, and then upload this file after that. That's 5 to 6 steps for one video.
Yeah, you're talking about, once we get past 2 steps, we're already into, you need to hire VA territory just to actually get this done.
But at the same time, LinkedIn favors the raw video or the native video, as they call it, over like a link to like your YouTube or your Vimeo or whatever, your blog, wherever it is.
Yeah, of course. Everybody wants you to put all original content on their platform, period.
Yeah, but then, of course, you get those 3 little dots when you've posted it, and then you can copy that link and then share it everywhere else.
Right, right. Which is fine if you want LinkedIn to be like your primary thing. But most of the time, especially over the last, let's say, 5 years or so, like the value of posting content that's made for one platform over to another platform has just gone drastically down because every social network devalues that. And every social network is fracturing and fragmenting to the point where only certain types of content works for each type of platform. So like the multiplication effect that we used to have 5 or 6 or 7 years ago, I think is a lot less today.
I know. Very much so. Totally agree.
Yeah, so really I think it's more, I think we really need to like zero in whereas back in the day we could create one type of content and then link it out everywhere. Now we have to either figure out a way to create one piece of content and then somebody else splits it up in certain ways for the other platforms, or we have to pick one or two places where we live and we create the content that that platform wants and ignore all the others and ignore the temptation to go screaming off in a new direction every time somebody goes, I really think Instagram might be where it's at, and Facebook is going, Facebook is dead. Like, really? So there's all kinds of, like, if you just listen to what people say, everybody has their own favorite kind of pet platform, and if you follow what the crowd or what you think the crowd is doing, you'll never actually build up any equity in one platform because you'll just be running from one to the next all the time.
Exactly. And that's what gets most people, small business owners and medium-sized businesses as well, is that they have to be everywhere, and it's hard to do that unless you have a designated team to do that.
Ooh, somebody told me this the other day. I'm curious if you've heard this or if it confirm it. Check, Greg, you'll appreciate this. Okay. So I was talking to a podcaster who got to spend some time with Gary Vee, like recently, like within the last 2 months, in his office for a couple of days. You know how big Gary Vee's content team is for Gary, not for anything to do with the business, not for VaynerMedia, not for his clients, just how big Gary's personal content team is that cranks out the stuff that we see every day. Take a
10,
wild guess.
10?
18.
18.
And that's why Gary Vee's everywhere.
That's why Gary Vee's everywhere. Exactly. So that's why I get such a kick out of the advice to be everywhere. Like guys like Grant Cardone and Gary Vee both shout that from the rooftops. And it's true in the sense that it's effective. But that's not how they got famous, number one. Number two, it's not something that's attainable for most people, and that's not what they do. They personally are not everywhere all the time on every social media platform. They're only everywhere because they pay other people to, fracture their content into 1,000 different chunks and put it on every single platform. And they've got people following them around essentially 12 hours a day, helping them create content by having a phone or a camera in their hand and documenting what's going on. Which I think there's going to be a point where a lot of us have that. I don't know if it'll be a person or if by that time it might be a selfie robot that flies around Greg's head. Greg will have like 3 of them, like just broadcast.
Actually,
Greg will have like 3 selfie robots around him broadcasting.
I was getting this because right when you were saying that, I'm like, I should probably show Matt what I got.
Yes,
and it's my own personal little drone. See? My own little personal drone.
Cute.
There you go. It is cute, isn't it? I haven't been able to make it work yet, but I am planning on doing that. But Google, Apple has a drone. It lasts for 12 or 15 minutes. It costs $2,000. It syncs in with everything everything Apple, and it can be controlled from the Apple Watch. It can take high-res photos and videos, so it can literally track you. So if you wanted to, power that thing up, you literally could have your own drone syncing with all of your Apple equipment that follows you around everywhere. And that's $2,000. But
for 12 or 15 minutes, then how long you got to charge it for another 12 or 15 minutes?
15 or 16 days.
Exactly. You go live on Facebook once every 2 weeks.
But I mean, think about it. So let's say if you go, it's on for 12 to 15 minutes fly time, right? And you want it to be relevant. So let's say you did 2 to 3 flies a day. That's 30 to 45 minutes of actual footage. Then you have a VA in somewhere else in the world that can edit that and give you 5 to 10 minutes a day of new, fresh, cool clip of you doing something awesome, aka standing outside of Starbucks stalking Matt. Matt's like, ooh, yeah. But I mean, think about that.
Depends on whether you're bringing coffee with you. I mean, if you feel free to stalk me outside the Starbucks if you're going to buy me something.
Couldn't just be you wanted to give back to humanity, Matt? It just, but it has to be like, give me coffee. But I mean, think about this. So we could take said footage, maybe of my little drone thing here, or of anyone else you buy anywhere else. I mean, couldn't you upload that to LinkedIn, and wouldn't that be something relevant to get people to engage with you versus just the stock footage of, you're taking your phone going, hey, everybody, what's up? duck face, selfie stick, kisses. All right. I mean,
I still see a lot of that on LinkedIn, and it gets a lot of engagement, and I still don't get it. But
I keep telling Matt to stop posting that stuff. Matt, it's not good for the brand.
Hey, I give the people what they want. What can I say? The people want duck look photos of me. I don't control what the market wants. I give the market what it wants.
Oh my God. Oh,
But
can
I can't
somebody
say
please
this.
do a duck face on Matt and send it to me? I would love to see that.
Oh no, nobody within your earshot needs to hear or act on that piece of advice. All right, so Tracy, let's get back on track a little bit. So LinkedIn groups, not optimistic about those. Not posting links to other content you've created on other networks and posting those to LinkedIn. Not so much. What do you think's going to win? Who's going to win over the next year based on what LinkedIn is favoring right now? If you're kind of starting from scratch, who's going to win a year from now?
Well, I don't think there's going to be a winner because I honestly think, Facebook's kind of reinventing themselves somewhat. And I'm not sure if the word is out publicly, but I'm going to share it right now. Facebook's now, did violate their terms of service about their membership groups can be paid for. Well, now they're creating it, or you can have a payment gateway in a Facebook group to have paid communities now.
Wait.
So-
What do you mean
Back
they
the
violated
back
the
the
terms
bus
of
up.
service?
Yeah, see, you guys haven't heard this. I know I'm spilling the beans. So
Wait.
I got some Facebook guys that are.
And now she freezes.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn it. That's like the biggest tease. Go back. Hold up. What are we paying for?
So Facebook groups, like your mastermind groups and whatnot, right now, you cannot have a paid group. There's a ways around that. You can still have a paid Facebook group, but not within Facebook, right? Use it as like a bonus or something, right, to your continuity program. Well, now, I don't know when this is rolling out, but I hear it's already starting with some select folks who have large groups to have now your Facebook groups can be paid groups, paid communities. Like right now, they've already, created it to where you can have units. And so you can create a membership site right within the group, right? You don't need an outside membership site like Optimized Press or Kajabi or any of those other ones, right? You can now create all your content and add your content into the Facebook group and create it and organize it in a way with units, not just the files and stuff where, it's hard to find stuff. You can create units now. Well, now, so that's one thing that I really, really like. Now I don't have to send people outside if I have any content, like my Facebook Lives, like high-end trainings, any, infographics, worksheets, checklists, whatever. I can all put in this Facebook group and stay inside of Facebook. And then people can find the content without me having problems, them not being able to log into, Kajabi or Optimized Press or whatever it is. I like that. Now I like it that it's coming down the pipe that you can now have paid groups. So people can pay for your monthly content in these groups if you so wish to. How that's all going to get set up, I don't have a clue. I don't know what payment gateways they're going to offer or anything like that. Right now, I'm just going through 22 Social, big boys out there in LA. And it's a great app. And they have payment gateways, with that.
Okay.
So so that's what I'm going to do for now. And that's the reason why that's why I haven't, created a really active LinkedIn group. Because for one, how do you you can't upload content into that group. I mean, I can upload, a video or an article or whatever, but then people are not going to be able to find it because it's a continuous news feed, right? Or we call it discussions. It's a continuous discussion. So where do you find stuff, right?
Right.
Secondly, engagement's really difficult. In a LinkedIn group, whereas Facebook, lots of engagement in a group, and you can have, more than one moderator or owner in there, perusing the feed and make sure that everybody gets responded to. Hard to do that in LinkedIn for that.
Gotcha. Okay. So LinkedIn groups don't sound like, as much as LinkedIn is going to push it, and it may be in the news and you're going to see it and you're going to hear about it and some people are going to jump on it, blah, blah, blah. So from the LinkedIn master, don't believe the hype. Don't jump into that. Pay more attention to the Facebook groups. But if you're starting from scratch on LinkedIn, who are the people that if they're starting right now are going to win a year from now on LinkedIn? They're going to be drawing attention. They're going to be getting engagement and interaction. What do you think the people that are smart right now who are using LinkedIn are doing over the next year where LinkedIn's actually going to favor them?
It's the same thing that I've been doing the last 6 years. Nothing's changed. I mean, the platform features and stuff have changed, but the basic campaign still stays the same. And that's why I kept telling everybody, it's back to basics, back to basics. You know,
Gotcha.
the platforms are going to change, but the basics are going to stay the same. First of all, you know, define the who and the what, your goal. Then you build out your profile that speaks to that. And then you start connecting with people strategically for new business referral partners, building trust. And the ultimate goal is to get them off of LinkedIn, because at the end of the day, you don't own any social media platform.
Yep.
Get them into some sort of funnel, you know, whether it's your autoresponder, your email list, your CRM, whatever it is that you're using at the time. And then you stay in front of those folks in the news feed, maybe, you know, write an article, post it in LinkedIn, which, by the way, you can repurpose an article from your blog or wherever. It's okay. It's not considered duplicate content according to Google. I just reference back if the article's living, you know, on medium.com or your blog, I just reference back the original article over there, because that'll get them back to your Medium or your blog or your website, whatever. But at the end of the day, you know, LinkedIn's an authority site. I'm still getting found for keywords. Did you know that one of my posts just a few months ago was indexed in Google?
No.
And somebody called me out of the blue. Yes, sir.
That's
Yes, sir.
awesome.
Yeah, because I did a little how-to video, and it was indexed in Google, and that's how they found me with the keywords. Because I had the right hashtags in there and had the right keywords in my description, and they found me on Google. So all those posts in the newsfeed are public. So if you start doing that and you've got good, great content that delivers, you know, obviously you're defining the pain point in the beginning. Well, now let's talk about those. And, you know, I call it story pain point solution. And you could do that for the newsfeed or for your articles. Now, like Dan Kennedy calls it pain, agitate, solve. And so I like to call it story pain point solution, because you want to tell a story, and that's what draws people in, whether it's a short story, a short video, or an article. Then it rolls into what that pain point is, and ultimately you get into that solution, and somebody is drawn in emotionally and goes, you know what, I need this person to help me do what they just did for that person. And whether that's a referral partner or you know, a client, you know, buyer or seller. Right? So that's how you build trust. And that's what's going to win. First of all, it's consistency. So connect with 25, you know, people a day. It takes 10 minutes to do that, right? Manually. By the way, if you're not using Sales Navigator, you're going to be very limited in the regular LinkedIn. Sales Navigator has all the great filters in there. You have like 21 filters in there. And you can even connect with people in groups that you don't belong to. That's the one thing I do like about this, is that the groups are still, that's the only thing I like about the group still being active, is I can connect with people in those groups and not have to belong to the group if I'm using Sales Navigator. That's what I like about that. So like you got Pete Asmus groups, you got lots of folks in those groups.
What's
Asmus,
that group?
There's several of them. Okay. He has several of them with thousands and thousands of members, like investor groups, real estate groups, mortgage groups. So go and check those out. And then, you know, set up a messaging campaign, you know, develop 2, 3, 4, 5 messages, you know, and then you want to organize them. Either you can use Excel. I'll give you guys a tip. I'm going to come out with a program here a little bit and how to use Pipedrive and LinkedIn to stay organized, because it tells you when your deals are rotting. So I know when the next message is supposed to go out to what person. Then. So I'm not having to, I could screw up any Excel sheet. I don't care if somebody locks it, I'd screw it up somehow.
Okay. So Pipedrive might be a better alternative.
Drive is better for me.
Gotcha.
Plus it does a whole bunch of other integrations and things like that. It's pretty cool. But I'm only going to be talking about the, you know, the basic campaign within there. And like just a couple weeks ago, you know, I hadn't been consistent with LinkedIn. I drove 10 new conversations. So I got people that got set up on my strategic calls, and I closed $8,500 in new business using this basic campaign. Wow. I did the same thing last week. I got 5 calls last week and then $4,500 in new business. Of course, I was in Dallas the week before. So, you know, fantastic. So yeah, but I've really dialed into the who And so,
Okay.
and then I've got my messaging down. So I've been doing this
Right.
for a while,
Yeah.
right? So that's the basic campaign, and so once you've been doing this for a while, you'll stay on their radar, and they may not be ready today or tomorrow. They may be ready in a year, but you're staying in front of them with your other activities. Send them an article once a month, stay front of mind. Hey, here's a great article. I just wrote it. It's in LinkedIn, so they don't have to go anywhere else, but stay in LinkedIn. They can read it off their mobile phone, right? I hope you enjoy it. Let me know your thoughts. People respond to that stuff. So,
Okay.
and
Simple.
like I said, it could be repurposed content, so,
Okay.
and the more you do it, the better at it you'll get.
Yeah.
So on
like
Pipe Drive, are you using the silver, gold, or platinum service to send these messages?
I'm just using the silver.
Okay, so you're using it's right now. That's $12.50, guys.
It's $15.
Oh, I have a 17% off apparently on my link.
Oh,
It's $12.50. Yeah, I know.
all right.
Just
So
off my
Tracy,
collar.
what's the if somebody wants to implement something like this and they want either your help, number one, or they want to kind of get into your world, get connected, so that when you come out with the course on how to do some of this yourself and how to link up LinkedIn and Pipe Drive and things like that, what's the best way to connect?
You know what? I've said this forever and ever. You just go to my LinkedIn. I'm the only Tracy Enos, and that's Enos on LinkedIn. Connect with me. Tell me that you've seen this show on with Greg and Matt over here. And actually, last time we did a good job. I got a lot of connections last time.
Good.
Nice.
That's awesome. Thanks, guys, for taking action.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
And also, my book's still #1 after a year. It's Publishing to Profits. It goes to Amazon. Go buy it digitally for $2.99. That really, the first chapter in there really, breaks it down on how to really create your profile and define who your prospect is. Not as deep as when I do my coaching, but good enough to get you started. As a matter of fact, I had a girl in September right before I went to Dallas. She went and got my book and then went through it. And in 5 days, got 5 new appointments and one with a high-level CEO that she would never been able to do. And she didn't even finish her profile. She just started making some changes. It was pretty cool. I've even got a video on my LinkedIn if you guys want to go find it. But she gives me a 4-minute testimonial over it. So
Wow,
that's awesome.
But come and connect with me, because stay tuned, because I'm bringing LinkedIn to Facebook, and we're going to have a continuity program, and everything that I do, high-level stuff, we're going to be teaching it, high-level stuff, and it's going to be like $97 a month.
That's awesome. And so your book is $2.99. Is that correct?
The Kindle, yes.
Oh, good Lord, people! Forget your latte for the day, Matt, and go buy the digital download. I mean, for $2.99,
I own it.
That's awesome.
I read it in the airport.
Whatever.
I don't think what
And
it
then
was.
how come you didn't? Did you send me an Amazon review?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why
that
didn't you share the link with me?
I know. I think I got. Well, it was after your last appearance, Tracy. So this had been March of this year. Because you came on the show in February. I think I read it in the airport when Greg and I were getting ready to fly out to speak in Australia. So this was I read it. I had a 12-hour layover in Vancouver. I burned through that book and started implementing.
Yeah, it was only 122 pages. Didn't take too long to read it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's great about it, because you can read it, you get the gist, and then you can go start making the changes to the LinkedIn profile and start putting the stuff into action. All right. So with that being said, Greg, let's talk about how to connect with you, and then we'll bring this to a close.
Yeah, guys, if you are listening to my voice, go to bookmcdaniel.com. If you guys are watching me, go to the link that you see right there on the screen and go to bookmcdaniel.com. Let's talk about EXP, guys. Look, it might be the thing for you. It might not be the thing for you. We don't know, but we do know that the real estate industry is changing, and there's going to be a changing of the guard, and things are going digital. It's just a fact of the matter. And so if you guys want to look at how to join EXP and get all the value add that Matt and I are bringing to our team members, go to it. Go to bookmcdaniel.com, book 30 minutes with me. It's free, no obligations, and I'll show you how to put more business in your pipeline, get free coaching, get free masterminding, and have 3 different levels of income. So go to bookmcdaniel.com, book time with me today. Matt, how do people judge and give us a 5-star referral, review, not referral, review.
All right, go to iTunes, go to Apple Podcasts, or go to Stitcher, depending on your device. Look up the show, give us a 5-star rating and a review. And if there's a particular episode that you enjoyed, like Tracy, make sure to give Tracy a public shout out in your review to thank her for the time and her contribution, and just being very open with all the cool stuff that she's shared and that our other guests have shared on the show. That's how you give us a rating and a review. Also, if you guys want to learn how to do Facebook Live for yourselves, we talked about why that's so important and why Facebook is favoring Facebook Live. And live video has not come to the LinkedIn platform yet, so we really we encourage everybody to do Facebook Live consistently to become that local celebrity expert to your database. Just go to rockstarlivevideo.com. You can get our free training on how to do that, where we break down everything from how to physically go live on your phone to what to talk about, where to find ideas for content, basically everything you need to get started. It's all free. rockstarlivevideo.com. So, guys, let's do this, Greg. Shall we put a nice red bow upon this episode? I know. Well, in honor of the Red X cap that you're wearing. I couldn't take my eyes off of it. It's a beautiful ball cap.
Okay. Well, you know what? Well, Tracy and I both are rocking our ball caps today. You guys, you know what? Matt and I love you. 4 years. 4 years. Matt and I have been doing this podcast. We're going to keep going. Because we're going to keep bringing legends, back to this show. They're going to bring amazing content. So if you guys like it, share it. If you guys don't, well, whatever. I don't know what to do with you. But I still love you. Matt might not, but I still do. But you guys, we want to see you guys on the next show. Suggest someone to us that might be a great guest for us, because we're always looking for great talent to bring out to share with everyone. So I love you guys. Tracy, thank you. You're amazing. 3 times. 3 times. There's only a very, very select few guests that have actually ever been on 3 times. So you are part of the privileged few, my friend. And we'll probably have you back again because you're awesome. But until the next time, guys, peace out, ninjas. We're gone.